Welcome to Crumbling Walls with me, with Raquel. And today we have a guest, Yhonet. So welcome to the podcast. Thank you for coming and sharing your story with all of us. And I'm really looking forward to hear what you want to tell us today. So with these kind of chats, they are very unplanned. I don't really know what you're going to speak about, which is great. And we're just going to slowly get into your story, get into your trauma, and get into the ways you overcame that, and also where you're at now. So the first thing I would like to know a little bit more, well, probably the first thing they want to know is who you are. So if you could introduce yourself and tell us what you do at the moment and who you are.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here. My name is Yhonet Garcia. I was born and raised in Caracas, Venezuela, and I've been living in Bristol for the past 10 years. And at the moment, I'm working as a counseling teacher in City of Bristol College, and on my free time, I play music, I write poetry, I paint, and do all sorts of creative things. I also a creative coach, coaching people to be more creative and to express themselves. And at the moment I'm starting the process of fundraising money to record my album, which is my biggest project so far. So yeah, that's me.
Exciting. Another creative. So the podcast is called Crumbling Walls, with the idea of the walls that we create for ourselves to protect ourselves, those defense mechanisms that we create when trauma happens in our lives. So for me, the idea of crumbling those walls is the idea of becoming free again. And I wanted to ask you, what would you consider your biggest trauma, your biggest defense mechanism, your biggest wall that stopped you from being the person that you really were or really are?
Yeah, well, my biggest trauma was that I was this is a trigger warning, so in this podcast we're going to talk about sexual abuse and violence, domestic violence. My main trauma is about sexual abuse, surviving sexual abuse and domestic violence. I grew up in a very beautiful, loving family. Though the culture in Venezuela is quite sexist. I grew up feeling like my voice wasn't allowed to be expressed. So these experiences blocked my voice, and the way that I protected myself from feeling the pain was by being defensive or reactive. So usually in terms of conflict and in terms of really wanting to express my needs, I would either demand them by asking them like as a this is what I want, or I would defend myself in a conflict to the point where I will have to win the argument, because otherwise I would just scream and shout. And another way that I defended myself was with victimization. So usually I would just play the victim and cry until I would get what I wanted. Because I didn't know how to express my needs any other way. That's the way I learned to ask for what I needed and ask it in a way that if it's not granted, then I suffer.
Thank you for sharing that. It also is so difficult to get to the point where you realize of all these behaviors that are so like ingrained when you grow up, and it's difficult to admit and be like, actually I used to do this, and to rise to the realization, oh, I'm doing this because of this trauma, because of this inability to speak up. And I feel like in my personal experience also, I've had this sensation. I think it's quite a common feeling for women an ability to speak our minds. And I think in my case it came the other way, where I was just like people pleasing and just not speaking my needs at all, because I just wanted to kind of, you know, just have people happy around me and have people accepting me. So I just didn't express those needs. So it's like it was the opposite from the same thing. It was the opposite effect, which is interesting.
Yeah, we're not really taught in school how to express our needs, really. Especially in the culture that I grew up. The culture is about you take space for yourself by pushing others.
Yeah, otherwise they'll crush you. No, it's true. And we don't learn that from our parents neither. I mean, obviously some people will, but I think our generation, our parents did the best they could, but maybe in ways of understanding themselves, expressing themselves and connecting was not the best example, probably. So very important lessons that we learn.
Yeah, and it requires a lot of work.
It does.
To come to these realizations and to let go of those habit patterns that doesn't serve us. I have had to work a lot on myself and really look inwards and dig into the root and try to unroot it with lots of work. Really
we'll get into that, I think, in a bit, because I think it's very interesting for people to know we're all different. We all have similar traumas, I think, and similar experiences, but we all react differently to them. And then there's different ways in which we can heal ourselves. And that's also why I want to bring with this podcast is showing people how each of us dealt with what happened to us. So I don't know if you would like to tell us a little bit more about your story, if you want to get a bit more in detail or deeper or not, that's also totally fine. So whatever you're happy to share with us.
I'm always happy to talk about myself, to be honest. I don't know, I like sharing my story because I know that it can help others. And I usually listen to podcasts that are inspiring to me. So having the opportunity to be here and share it I love it. I left Venezuela when I was 20 and I moved to Madrid and I lived there for 8 years. There were like really difficult times in Madrid. Like I think growing up in Venezuela was my rite of passage, but living in Madrid was the finishing line of my rite of passage. And in growing up, in starting to get to know myself a little bit more. In Madrid I lived all sorts of difficult experiences. I had an abortion, and it was I had a choice. It was my choice to have it, because I got pregnant when I was 26 and I didn't feel ready to bring a soul into the world. I couldn't even take care of myself, so how could I take care of another person? And it was a good decision. I feel grateful that I did it. Though recently I have been feeling this need of being a mom, so I have been grieving the fact that I probably won't be a mom at this age. But yeah, like my lifetime, my life in Madrid brought me lots of growth and challenges at the same time. And because it was so difficult to find a job there, I decided to move to the UK, and I moved to Bristol, so I've been here for 10 years. And this is the place where I have received all the blessings that have been awaiting for me. As a reward of all the difficulties that I went through and the rites of passages. It's like you feel like, okay, you passed the test. Here you are. And I started receiving like good things, and my creativity awoken here. I consider myself that I always was a creative person since I was a child. When I was a child, I expressed interest in being an actress, in being a dancer, I never expressed interest in being a singer, but I was always singing. I remember singing all the time. And it's only been here in Bristol that I have had the exploration of it, because in the past I didn't have time or energy to do it. So now my time is only focused on that.
Nice. Yeah, I found the same with Bristol also, where it's been here where I explored my artist side. Where actually I started believing I was an artist, because I didn't even think I was an artist or a creative person. So
everybody has the potential to be creative.
Yeah,
everybody has the creativity, so. Because creativity to me is a connection with the divine, with God, with the source, with the universe. I don't know how to call it, however, but we are just mediums to channel all that creativity, to express it and share it with others, because that sharing with others is what will help other people to express themselves.
Yeah, and I believe now that we all have our own imprint, like our own way of channeling that, whatever it is that's coming through us. Even if you're doing the same than somebody else, what you're doing is unique, and what you're doing can inspire others around us. Yeah, I still sometimes, like, I say this, but I doubt myself all the time, like, I'm not, this is not good enough, this is not, but then I remind myself, it is good enough as it is at the moment, it is a process, and you are inspiring people, even if, maybe things don't reach a massive scale of people, you're still inspiring people around us, so it doesn't matter the scale. That's what I think now.
Yeah, and everything we do has a ripple effect on other people. Definitely, that's the reason why I keep pushing forward and pushing myself to keep on this path, even though I still financially haven't seen the results I expect. But that will come, because I have trust in that.
Yeah. Beautiful. And I don't know if you wanted to talk to us about the sexual abuse, like how that affected you afterwards, or if you just rather not talk about this in depth. But
I'm happy to share. So I suffered sexual abuse when I was a child. I'm gonna keep confidentiality in terms of the abusers. It was two people in my childhood, and for the purposes of protecting everybody that are involved with those people, I kind of prefer not to share who they were. But it's been a process of probably around 10 years when I started therapy to start digging into myself and seeing why my relationships were failing and why I was feeling depressed and anxious and down on myself. And it was the process of the therapy that brought up the possibility that I had been sexually abused, though I don't have clear memories of what happened. My body, the book Van der Kolk, The Body Keeps the Score. Well, basically my body kept the score, and it kept showing signs of that every time that I was in relationship with men, because I would attract certain patterns, not that were abusive in itself, but I could relate to what I received in my childhood, some manipulation, and noticing how I would put the other person before me, and whenever I would have sexual relationships, I would feel shame. I would withdraw into myself. I would feel the pain physically and emotionally, and I would feel abandoned. So all these things started to come up in relationships. So it was really, really painful to witness, because obviously I was witnessing everything. So I had to take a step back into relating So I've been single for the last 2.5 years. Only in 3 occasions having sexual encounters with people that I thought they were potential, but then they weren't, because they would be a repetition of those old patterns. So I would say for the past 10 months I've been completely just focusing on myself, not really trying to attract any partner or to be with anyone, just really focusing on me and on growing. And I think all the work that I've done has helped me to heal. So that comes from psychotherapy to art therapy to counseling to movement, poetry, music. So writing songs, writing poems, all of that. Making art has been the tools that I have used to heal myself and to express. Also plant medicine has been a really big part of my healing journey since 2011, which was the first time that I went to a plant medicine retreat, ayahuasca. So yes, it's been a long process of healing, but I feel like I'm on the other side of it, and I'm in a point where I can finally share my journey and help others.
Amazing. And be aware of those patterns, because I always feel like healing was never linear. It's never like a beginning and an end neither. And it's not like we work on all these things and they just go forever, I find that it's more understanding. So when they pop up, you're like, there you are again. And then we just get to know ourselves and not fall into that again and again and again. And so it's very interesting. You said the art and creativity was a big way. For me, it's been also like a big way of processing all my emotions, trauma, and defense mechanisms, and understand myself better through art. So maybe, you also mentioned therapy and movement. I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit how you started trying to heal and what that process has been and how these tools have helped you.
So I studied 2 years of psychology in Madrid and Universidad Complutense in Madrid. But I didn't finish the psychology degree because it was really hard to be working full time as well as studying full time and finance paying for all of that myself without any support. So I left it. And I came to Bristol, and then my music journey started, and I went back to Venezuela for a year to take care of my mom, who passed away sadly due to a brain tumor.
Sorry to hear.
So when I came back to Bristol, I decided to study something that I could use on the side of music, so I could be working on it whilst making music. So I decided to study creative art therapies, which is the foundation degree that can show you all different forms of art therapy, movement therapy, drama therapy, art therapy, and you experience it yourself, and then you finish the course with accreditation to facilitate these creative activities to enhance well-being and mental health. And it's the foundation for becoming a therapist later on, if you want to become a therapist. I didn't choose to do a master's in art therapy or any other the creative forms because they were long, but I did choose creative writing as a path to follow because I wanted to write my story, I wanted to share a book. So I did a master's in creative writing, and that showed me the power of poetry as a therapeutic tool, because a lot of unresolved trauma around having grown up in Venezuela, which is really, really violent and dangerous, was shown through the poems that I wrote, and I never realized that I was traumatized about having grown up in a place where it wasn't safe. So the poetry showed me, oh, I have another therapeutic tool to work with. And also because I write songs and I write music and I like writing poetry as well, so like it was all combination of things. And then the universe gave me this opportunity to work in the college. I've been working in the college as a learning assistant for 6 years, supporting young people with their mental health and in the classrooms. And then this opportunity to for supply vacancy, emergency vacancy as a counselor lecturer came up, and I applied like, oh, I'm not a counselor, but I'm just gonna apply to see what happens, and they offered me the job. So
Amazing.
I've been teaching counseling for the past 2 years, and yeah, the counseling is like another piece of the puzzle that has completed my healing journey, because I have learned so much about myself through counseling and teaching the students about things. So I feel like I'm in a privileged position because I'm teaching my students from a place of my own experience rather than having to have an accreditation as a counselor. I actually have the experience of having healed myself with all the tools that I found. And so I teach a module called Creative Approaches to Counseling and Counseling Level 3. So it's like a combination of all the things that I like.
Amazing. So you think writing has been a big one? Movement?
Yeah,
also?
movement was part of my course. So I did a whole module of movement therapy, and that was amazing. Like all the trauma that came up from that, So the trauma stays stuck in the body, and it's only when we start moving it that it can express itself, and it's so deep in the unconscious that certain movements that we do, we don't know that they are expressing something, but they are, and at the same time that we express it, we are healing ourselves. So it was really powerful. And also I have the practice of going to ecstatic dance every weekend. I am part of the volunteer team, and I've been supporting the founder of ecstatic dance for the past 2.5 years, and that's like so important for my well-being, because also I grew up in a culture where dancing is part of our identity. So you learn how to dance when you are in your mom's belly, basically. And as you come out to the world, then you learn how to dance salsa, and you have like the rhythm, the Caribbean rhythms in your body. And I kind of lost the connection with it since I moved to the UK, because I simply don't connect with that much. But going to ecstatic dance has been huge part of that, because I just then lose myself in moving however like I want.
No, I found dancing, specifically this kind of ecstatic dancing, very, very healing. To be fair, I have to go because I haven't gone for ages. But I even do it at home on my own. Like when I'm feeling whatever I'm feeling, it's always good to put the music. If I'm feeling sad, I just put sad music and I just dance, and then the emotions just flow, and then you stop having them stuck in yourself, and stop being, because when you have stuck emotions or stuck trauma, I usually feel like anxious or depressed. I'm just on edge, not knowing what to do with myself. I know I have all these things to do, but I'm just there with the emotions trapped in it, and unable to actually move with my life, do anything. And the movement really, I think, gets that flowing, gets the emotions out, and just releases it from your body.
Yeah. And it's such a shift. Also, it doesn't have to be just dancing, even with stretching is enough. Like shaking is so super powerful. It's so simple, just like shake, but it's so powerful. Really, it does shift things. And I do have the practice in the morning of waking up and doing some yoga. It's like so important. Like I can notice how it's a different day when I decide not to do yoga in the morning because I'm lazy, and when I push myself and I stretch and I breathe, and that's a different day.
Yeah, I feel that because I also I used to do yoga more or less every morning. For the last few weeks I haven't, and then yesterday I did it again. As I know, I'm doing yoga today without expectations. It doesn't need to be any specific type of yoga. I usually just do what I feel I want to do, and I take my time, and if I just want to do 10 minutes, that's fine too. But and I was like, oh god, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
Like the whole day was just like, I don't feel that pressure of everything I have to do. I'm just more like, okay, let's just take one thing at a time, enjoy the day, and yeah, it makes such a difference. I did it again today, just before you arrived, and I was like, let's do some yoga.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is true. Any type of movement, it just makes a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and also because the tension that we hold in our bodies, it gets stuck in many places. So with stretches, we release the tension, and with breathing, we can also release the tension. So yeah, it's so important.
Yeah. Amazing. And I think the last thing you mentioned, apart from movement, creativity, especially writing, but also music, was also like plant medicine and stuff, which I find also very interesting. I've never had ayahuasca, but I've had mushrooms, which have also really helped me kind of put all these pieces together. Also, not a recommendation, but so yeah, I don't know what your experience is with this kind of.
Yeah,
medicine.
so I started my journey with ayahuasca in 2011, and yeah, it's always been said, like, if you get the call, then listen to the call and go for it. So I heard the call, and how, like, somebody may ask, how is this call? Like, how do you feel it? And you just feel it internally that is something that you need to do. So the opportunity will come for you, as simple as that. And then it shows up, and then you show up, and you receive the medicine. And yeah, each time has been completely different from each other, and every occasion I have healed part of my family. So a different member of my family have come up in each ceremony, and yeah, different things have healed. But my most recent one, after 8 years of not having taken any medicine, because I usually did it every time that I went back to Venezuela for holidays, because I like doing it with indigenous people. And so yeah, the opportunity came up for this retreat, and I went, and that was the biggest healing I have ever experienced with the plant so far. Yeah, so I basically felt like I let go of my trauma, and that it left my body. Because before that, I was starting to feel ill, actually. Like, I was having lots of digestive issues, and this was affecting my well-being really strongly. And I just noticed how I was feeling more and more inflamed, and more my energy levels were reducing, and I wasn't feeling healthy, and despite how healthy I eat, yeah, I was feeling like I was slowly becoming more and more ill. And since I had the ceremony, that had been released, so I started to regain my strength, my energy levels, and yeah, even my creativity has opened up so much more. Yeah, and my voice has healed a lot. Like, I can feel it is more open, and I'm less shy to express myself, less shy to express my needs, less shy to sing in front of others, and yeah, it's been amazing. I'm really grateful to ayahuasca for that. Also, mushrooms are part of my healing process, so yeah, I even facilitate ceremonies with mushrooms. So I'm starting to explore the shamanic side of me and how to hold space for others in their healing journey. So that's also been quite powerful. But yeah, definitely is something that I totally vouch for and recommend for people that has deep trauma, and even if not deep trauma, if you just want to heal and connect more with yourself, to plant medicine gives you the access to that part.
No, I find that especially with mushrooms. Obviously I haven't tried ayahuasca, maybe one day, but the different experiences I've had, a lot of it has been feeling, like allowing myself to feel, and it has really discovered my own emotional world, and it has stopped me from being scared of my emotions. So I don't hide away now. I'm like, the emotion flares up, I'm like, okay, I recognize that, I don't need to run away, it's okay, it's safe. So it's completely changed my inner world and my acceptance of myself. So yes, definitely.
Yeah, and acceptance is key to love ourselves, because when we accept those tender parts of ourselves that have been hurt, have been traumatized, or need attention, they show up because they need attention. So if we accept them and welcome them, that's a huge big part of healing.
Amazing. And I think I have one more question, or without something I'd like you to talk about a little bit more, which is your music. And how that's going at the moment, what you're trying to do, and how it's helping you also.
Yeah, you can see the smile on my face immediately as soon as somebody says music. It just sparks all my joy. Like, music is my greatest gift. The greatest gift I've ever received. My mission here in life, really, like, to be able to share my music with others, and to step up in myself, because I've had to work so much on my self-confidence and my self-trust through music, because I started playing music when I was 29, really. Like, I've always liked to sing on top of other singers and follow their melodies and everything, but the decision to train myself as a musician and to learn to play the guitar and to learn to sing properly, it only started when I was 29. So I started quite late in compared to people that start when they're kids. So it's been particularly difficult in many ways, because even though I have had discipline to be good at it, by practicing, I have never felt so good that I could make a living with it, or to trust that I can actually just live as a musician and that's it. Even when I decided to study creative art therapy, was with the mindset of, I'm gonna study something that gives me money on the side, so I can pursue my music dream. And I don't have regrets in life, but I do think that belief came from my conditionment of being an artist or saying pay the bills, basically. So having made a choice steered my music dedication a little bit on the side, even though I have never stopped. I have never stopped practicing, and I have never stopped being focused on it. The thought of having to have something on the side to provide for my financial needs have taken away the full attention of my music dedication. So if I had put all of that energy that I put into getting that degree and that master's into just music, because I would have just trusted in the music is enough, I probably will be further in the path, but I will never know because you never know. You know, like, and I think everything that we live is what we're meant to live. And the path that I've chosen to take as a parallel is always being complementary to my music because I have been healing myself, and that healing has provided the ability to write songs about healing, the ability to write songs about my process, the ability to hold space for other people, which as a musician you need to be able to hold space for other people. And in the past, where I have performed in open mics and big like audiences, I haven't been fully competent to hold space. I have been hiding behind my guitar and singing softly and low key, not to show completely myself because I was so scared. But I'm in a moment where I'm actually starting to show off a little bit more and to be less scared to share my voice, and because this is my mission, this is what I came here to do, so I actually have to face it in order to keep growing in it. So I started a fundraising campaign to raise money to record my album because I have like write some collection of songs over the years, and I really, 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 really want to materialize the songs and share them with people. And I started the process of recording 3 years ago. I was using the money from my maintenance loan in the masters to pay for the recording, but there was a point where I couldn't do that anymore because I needed to finance myself. So I stopped, and then I worked, and it's been just focusing on working and really making the space for myself so I can have the time to practice and to do the recording. And this year was like, okay, this cannot be postponed any longer. I really need to make this happen, because when we postpone the things that we really want to do in life, that's where frustration comes. And frustration, resentment towards ourselves, the sadness, the depression, the feeling of not having a purpose is because we're not listening to that purpose that is talking from within. It's like it wants to express itself. So one of my purposes is to create this album, to reach other people, to perform in front of people, to share my music. And so far the whole fundraising process is giving me a lot of creative insights in terms of how I can create things for people to collaborate. So I will be starting doing some gigs. So then the first gig that I'm gonna have is next week in a gallery, art gallery launch party. Nice. So there's an art gallery exhibition that's gonna start next Friday on the 26th from 6 p.m. and I'm gonna be performing with another musician and a poetry reader and a spoken word artist, and from then I'm gonna start just creating different gigs in areas of Bristol, so people can just buy the ticket through the fundraising website and just show up and
that's such a good idea.
So I can showcase my music. Then I also started creating these poetry cards with art, so it's a combination of art and poetry that I'm planning to sell, to also raise funds and to support myself, because working part-time I need a little bit more extra income. So I just had this idea yesterday that I could sell my art, which is not, because in the past art has never been my strong. My like dance, I feel super confident. Singing, I feel more and more confident. Drama, I feel super confident. But art, like art as a painting or drawing or anything, I've never felt that I was skilled. And I started creating more art when I did the creative art therapist course. But recently I have been feeling more confident with it, and yesterday I started these poetry cards that are just flowing through me, and it's so exciting. Really, really exciting.
Amazing. And I think it's such a good idea that you're also, obviously you're doing a fundraiser because of you have that dream, but you're also giving back to people through all these great ideas, through art, through music and all of that. So I think that's such a good way. And I feel that what you were saying before, that when you have the money coming from like a stable, you know, like in my case, I also have my career. I don't like to call it career anymore because now it's just the edges have, you know, merged and just changed. But what I studied and I thought would be my career was to be a vet. And then, I mean, I still do that as a, like, that's what gives me the money. But obviously what I'm passionate about is the painting, is the podcast, is, there's, to be honest, there's so many ideas all the time. And because I've had this safe job, and it's also a job that gives me a decent amount of money, there's always like, I'm not fully in the art because I'm like, well, I don't need to, you know, when I have the moments of doubt of, oh, I don't know where I'm going, oh, it's okay, I can just fall back in the other thing, you know, that is stable and is safe. But then I pull away from opportunities and things that maybe if I had to make money because I had to survive, I'd just go fully in and just, you know. So I do feel that, and I'm still in that kind of transition, I think, where I'm like trying to focus on the things that actually make me excited. I'm trying to believe that I can survive just with those.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still obviously don't believe that fully. So that's still a work in, yeah.
Yeah, it does take a huge amount of belief in yourself and your ability and your gift, but also it takes discipline and work. Now you're putting yourself out there. The process of marketing yourself, marketing your products, marketing the things that you create.
Yeah,
it does take a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It is very difficult emotionally also to kind of actually put what you make. Like if anybody watching this is an artist, creates something, like it comes from really deep, and it's very difficult to show it to people and be like, especially maybe when people didn't know that this is what you do. People that knows you already or knows a part of you, and you're like, this is what I do, this is all like that's within me, and all these vulnerable spots that I'm showing to the world, and it's scary. And it's scary, and it's once you pass that initial putting yourself out there, it's still like the work of believing that you can do something with this. So it's like a continuous effort, and it is not easy, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
And also not letting yourself be put down by other people's opinion is so important.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's people that's not gonna believe in you. There's people that's gonna think, oh, this is worthless. Why are you doing that? Like, get a proper job, or or like the other day I put my fundraising campaign in an advert in Facebook, and one person, a stranger, commented, "LOL, oh dear," and I replied, "So what's so funny?" Like,
yeah.
What is funny about this? Because this is my work.
Yeah.
And the other person didn't reply. But, you know, like...
There's always people with opinions. And I think a lot of it also is people that maybe wish they were doing the same.
Exactly.
But they're not, you have to overcome a few mental barriers to get to do these things. And a lot of people is just there in their like depression in their job that maybe they don't like, maybe they wish they could do other things, but they don't believe they're good enough, and they're projecting that onto the people that is actually doing it.
Yeah.
So that's one type of people, and then there's the other people that, you know, you're just not gonna make everybody happy. Not everybody's gonna like you, because we're all different. We all like different types of music, different types of art, and you know, I see that with my paintings all the time because I paint portraits, and not everybody wants a face hanging on their wall. And I've had moments in the past where I was like, oh no, everybody wants like landscapes or whatever it is that is abstract, whatever it is that is sellable. And I was like, should I adapt myself? And then it's like, no, like this is what I want to do. This is who I am and what I want to express and how I want to express it. So I just keep doing it and trying to, and there is people out there that will connect to the real, and that connection will be stronger because that's the real you being expressed. So, yeah.
Yeah. And authenticity is key into the creative process. The more authentic we are in expressing our true nature, the more we're gonna sell.
Yeah.
And more we're gonna reach people. Really, because it's a matter of, it's not even a matter of selling or getting money out of it. It's a matter of reaching people's hearts and connecting with each other through a medium that resonates and speaks a message that reach people's intimacy, and they can realize, oh, this speaks to me, this is saying something that I have thought, that I have dreamed of, that I have that I didn't know how to put words to, but it's actually someone else is saying it for me. And that's the real power.
Yeah. And I think sometimes people don't even know why they connect to something. Again, I see that with my paintings, because some people connect to very different pieces. And then I'm like, okay, so you like this piece, so this is the story behind it. And usually that story applies to that person. So there's definitely through art, like we're communicating in a way that maybe we don't fully understand consciously, but it's definitely like a type of communication that other people does understand. So it's like an emotional connection.
Yeah. And it goes to the unconscious, because collectively we are connected through the unconscious. And art speaks through the unconscious. So sometimes we connect with certain art and we don't know why we're connected, but it's speaking to our unconscious. Somehow certain colors are reflecting something about ourselves, or are speaking something that we would like to express, but we don't know how to, and it's just about unconscious connection.
Totally. Interesting. Well, I think that was my last question. I don't know if you wanted to add anything before we close the space.
I'm very thankful to be here. Thank you for inviting me, for offering me the space to share my life, to share my creativity, my creative process. So if you want to connect with me, you can follow me on Instagram at Yhonet, Yhonet Creative. So together at Yhonet Creative. I also have a Facebook page called Yhonet Garcia Music Poetry. And my fundraising campaign is on justgiving.org. So if you find Yhonet Garcia in justgiving.org.
I'll leave it down also with all the links to you and to your work and your fundraiser and my links too. So I leave all the links down there. I'm very thankful that you came also and shared your story with us, and it always surprises me. I mean, it's only the second guest, but like the essence of each person and their story and how they overcame it, I just find it fascinating. And I love this kind of vulnerable connection that maybe we wouldn't have even if we were recording this. So thank you so much for opening up.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you all for following us up to here today. I hope you did enjoy it, and I would love to hear if you resonate with anything from her story, from anything that we've been talking about today. And of course, we'd be more than happy to also hear your story if you want to share that. And I leave all the links down below, so you can also contact me, have a look on my art. And I'm very thankful that you're here with us again another week, and I'll see you at the next video. So, bye.